White flag. And that are the Aloga Equestrian Pro-Am Bumper. Just under 2-3. Love Sign Duno is the leader, followed by Touch the Clouds. Improving on the outside is Vienna Storm. They're followed the end of almost a couple of furlongs by Beechwood Road, and then Largy Star and Dr. Elvis. Continuing on the approach to the straight for the first time, it's Love Sign Duno and Vienna Storm, the stable companions. On the inside is Beechwood Road, followed by Touch the Clouds and Dr. Elvis, Largy Star. Hazy Daisy next. The grey is I Can Boogie. Flyway Home and Esprit de Roux is trailing the field. Coming on inside their final 2 miles, they straighten. And the leader is Love Sign Duno. On the left is Vienna Storm, followed by Beechwood Road and Touch the Clouds, Largy Star and Dr. Elvis, Hazy Daisy and I Can Boogie. Flyway Home is out in front of Esprit de Roux. Continuing up the straight, wide apart, Love Sign Duno and Vienna Storm. In between them is Touch the Clouds, then Beechwood Road and Largy Star. Dr. Elvis next, and then Hazy Daisy with the last 3. I Can Boogie, Flyway Home, and Esprit de Roux. On to the finishing post the first time. Love Sign Duno joined by Vienna Storm. Third, 3 parts of a length back is Touch the Clouds, and then Beechwood Road. Together next are Largy Star and Dr. Elvis. Moving on from the other 4. Pushed along is Hazy Daisy, then Flyway Home, I Can Boogie. And further behind is Esprit de Roux. Making the bend towards the side of the track, almost a mile of the race under them. Love Sign Duno and Vienna Storm, followed by Touch the Clouds, Beechwood Road. Has hit a few flat spots already. And then comes Dr. Elvis. At the back of them is Largy Star. Heading for the halfway stage, the Aloga Equestrian Pro-Am Bumper. Love Sign Duno and Vienna Storm, followed by Touch the Clouds, Beechwood Road, Dr. Elvis and Largy Star. Gone a long way clear of the balance. Love Sign Duno, Patrick Mullins from Vienna Storm and Jody Townend. In third is Touch the Clouds, Lee Shanahan, 2.5 lengths to Beechwood Road and Adam Ryan. And then Dr. Elvis, Josh Halford on the outside of Largy Star and Declan Lavery. A long way clear of the next one. Love Sign Duno and Vienna Storm still occupying the first 2 positions, followed by Touch the Clouds. These 3 covered by less than 3 lengths, then Beechwood Road, Dr. Elvis and Largy Star as they pass their point of departure. And Love Sign Duno, who's made the bulk of the running, followed by Touch the Clouds, Vienna Storm, and then Beechwood Road. Taking closer order is Largy Star. Dr. Elvis is struggling to keep up with them. Love Sign Duno by 1.5 lengths. Heading back for the approach to the straight. From Touch the Clouds, Vienna Storm. Largy Star on the inside of Beechwood Road, followed by Dr. Elvis. Inside the final half mile, the Aloga Equestrian Bumper. Love Sign Duno is the leader. Largy Star makes continued improvement on the inside of Touch the Clouds, dropping back both Vienna Storm and Beechwood Road. Turning in for the final 3 furlongs. Love Sign Duno from Largy Star on the inside, and then Touch the Clouds gone away from Beechwood Road and Vienna Storm. 2.5 furlongs to go, and it's the principals now coming to the fore. Love Sign Duno and Largy Star. Shifting on from in 3rd place is Touch the Clouds. Love Sign Duno appears to have the measure of Largy Star, who's trying to pack in a punch, but Love Sign Duno is coasting along, racing towards the final furlong. Love Sign Duno is opening up from Largy Star. In 3rd is Touch the Clouds, and racing to the final furlong, kicking clear with the Aloga Equestrian Pro-Am Bumper is Love Sign Duno and Patrick Mullins. Well inside the final furlong, it is Love Sign Duno. Couldn't be any more impressive here as Willie notches up his second of the afternoon. Love Sign Dano wins easing down. Second is Larky Start and Touch the Clouds home in third.
Well, we were speaking beforehand about whether there'd been a standout bumper horse this side of the Irish Sea so far. Maybe we've seen the one who falls into that category now, Don, because Love Sign Danu has powered clear to make a winning rules debut at 5-4 in a race where several of his rivals, whether under rules or in the point-to-point field, had shown a good level of ability already. Jasmin De Vaux won this race before going on to Festival Glory previously. Could this fella be about to do the same, do you think?
Yeah, like he's going to be high in the market now for the Champion Bumper, Gary, but it was a fairly remarkable performance because Patrick Mullins just sat out in front, and one by one his rivals just started coming under a ride and they started dropping away. It looked like a stable companion. Vienna Storm was travelling well on the run across the side of the track, but he's come under a ride from Jody Townend and just couldn't go with them. Largy Star, his main market rival, moved into the race. He was his last challenger. He just faded from the final furlong, and Touch the Clouds travelled into his race well, as he had done in his last race as well at Navan, and he came under ride and couldn't go with them. But all the while, Love Sign Danu just kept on galloping, kept on going forward, and they just dropped off him. He's run out a seriously impressive winner, and they've been so well stretched that you could even see the second and third horses going to the line. They were out on their feet going to the line, and Love Sign Danu just went through the line, no bother. And as you say, this race, as well as Jasmin De Vaux winning this race and then going on to win the Champion Bumper 2 years ago, it's been won by other good horses. Seabank Bistro won it, Latest Exhibition won it as well. Big Dog won it for Peter Fahey back in 2018. So it is a race that has gone to horses who've gone on to bigger and better things. And yeah, there's just no telling how high this fella's going to be able to go now.
I know this was the best part of 2 miles and 3 furlongs today, but I think if it had been 2 miles, the result wouldn't have been any different, that's for sure. It just might have maybe slightly affected the winning distance a touch, but he still would have been way too good for his rivals. And he looks to have done it so easy. Minimal encouragement from the saddle, really, wasn't it?
Just, he's hardly given him a squeeze, and just kind of continued to gallop along at his pace, and just one by one his horses, his rivals have just come under rides, and they're just out on their feet in behind. They can't go with him at all. And when Patrick Mullins asked him to pick up again, he's gone on again as Largy Star just clings on to the runner-up spot, but the distance the distance between the leader and the second is widening all the way to the line, and he's gone through the line nicely, just eased down close home, and the others are struggling to get to the line.
Very, very impressive stuff then from our winner. Another look at the closing stages. Patrick just manoeuvring out there for some better grounds. I think that quote from Bet365 does put him at the top of the market for the Weatherbys Champion Bumper.
Not surprising.
No, I think he's earned it, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he was well touted before coming here today, and he's done his talking on the track. Point-to-point winner previously. He'll have a bright future over jumps in due course, but
even the head-on view can't get all his rivals into the picture.
Yes, and he's just making his way back to unsaddle now. We'll see what the champion amateur made of that. I'd imagine he was pretty taken by his men's performance, Tom. Let's get Patrick Mullins' verdict then after Love Sign Danu's winning debut. Patrick, is this the new clubhouse leader with your bumper horses this season?
He might well be. Look, we didn't expect him to do that. At home, he's not very flashy, hence why I rode him the way he did over 2-2. But you know, he's relentless. He just has a high cruising speed, and he's able to keep it up. And when I had the peak to my legs, the third last, I couldn't believe how strung out they were. So yeah.
I know he was introduced today over just shy of 2 miles 3, but the result wouldn't have been any different over 2 miles, would it? Have you kind of maybe seen him in a different light there? Maybe.
Definitely. I thought he'd win, but I didn't think he'd win like that. And you know, Jasmin De Vaux, I think, won this bumper before Cheltenham, but he'd be a very different type of horse. He was a quick horse. This fella would be more along the lines of you know, the Florida Pearl lads in the bank with those big 3 mile chasers. So I always like it when one surprises you on the track.
He'd be well worth bringing over, I'd imagine, to Cheltenham. Would you expect him to be there, all being well?
I'd be very surprised if he wasn't, yeah.
And at this stage, do you know what you're likely to be riding at the DRF next week, or is it too early to say?
Well, we only have Bencher Hill in the Colts and Geldings bumper, and then we have 3 in the Mares bumper. We'll have to see how they work during the week. And then there's a few in the pro races, but I'll have to see what way Willie Bingo works.
You'll have a bit more food for thought anyway before that.
Exactly, yeah. We'll be doing work with them now on Tuesday and Thursday, but I think we're very happy where all the horses are now compared to Christmas.
Good to hear. Patrick, thanks a lot. Well done. Cheers.
Thanks, Gary.